struck back and won a whole bunch of times at Homestead Cup. So these two, they really go way back. They both had their moments, but I think that always makes it a little extra special when these two go up against each other.
It's definitely a special matchup. One of the great rivalries of current age of StarCraft 2. For game number 1, we are starting in the bottom right of Death Aura on top of this man, still arguably the GOAT, although it is arguable now. It is Serral.
And on the top left side, without going full hyperbole on you guys at home, but also somebody that some people claim to be the GOAT. And there are a lot of reasons why you would look at him like that. Whether he's the GOAT or just one of the all-time greats, he is amazing, and he's been amazing for such a long time in StarCraft 2. It is INnoVation.
I think we have a herd of GOATs, Roddy. So
yes,
it's too hard to choose.
No, it is definitely hard to choose, and I think it's always an opinion thing, right? It's hard to really say, like, no, without a shadow of a doubt, what this guy did is more impressive than what that guy did. But if people tell me, like, hey, I think INnoVation is the greatest StarCraft 2 player of all time for reasons X, Y, Z, you can list 100 of them because he's been so successful for so long, I'd be like, well, I may not agree, because I think it's Serral, but I can see where you're coming from. I mean, INnoVation, his accomplishments are insane. And once again, that he didn't start doing this like last year. Like, no, he's been on top of his game since 2013, basically, right? 2012, maybe even. And he's been one of the best players in the world ever since. Like, that is truly remarkable, I think.
Yeah, that's why I've always considered him one of the best, one of the GOATs, because it's been so many metas, so many expansions, literally every expansion. And he did come from being a pretty good Brewer player as well. So he's one of the first StarCraft 2 guys to really get really good at StarCraft 2. But we're going a bit far back in time. Talking about 2020, we're talking about Serral having broken the dominance of Korea with his BlizzCon victory. And you're talking about Serral losing his drone.
What a save. That was so cool, because I love that Inno was blocking the extractor, right, with the hold position. Then Serral's like, well, I'll go for the different extractor. And Inno's like, no, I see what you're doing. So he lands a grenade there, and then Serral still gets the initial extractor. That was really cool. I've never got this excited over the Reaper drone skirmish.
I know, right? I mean, it's a really nice thing when the Reaper finds the drone, but this is already setting the tone, Roddy. All right, this is going to be everything. It's going to go down to the last bailing, the last bling, the last drone. Nah, probably not, but still a good little start there for INnoVation.
I mean, that does really show, right? Like, these two guys, they know that this is going to be a competitive match. So every little victory counts. Delaying the hatchery is awesome. Getting the drone is just a lot of momentum that you will carry with you for a little while. But it didn't happen. Inno made the best of it, but Serral showed us that he didn't make any mistake. The Reaper will get the creep tumor here, and that's a nice way to kick things off.
That is a really nice thing. You stall out the third hatch, you get the creep tumor, you start, making them doubt themselves. I'm saying it all tumbles down from here. And Fusion Core follow-up, and this is really nice. He must have seen or known where Serral usually puts the Overlord on Death Aura, or maybe this is actually the most common for Zergs. Actually, it might be, because there's no, pervert pillar. So he's actually putting it on, like, the opposite side.
I have never heard that. A pervert pillar?
Really? I'm pretty sure I stole that from, like, Nate or Maynard or something.
Okay. I'm not surprised that it comes from Maynard, but no. That's funny.
But it's still going to be scouted, because, funnily enough, he puts it in the right location to be as far away from the Overlord. His Marine was in the wrong location.
Did he see it now, actually? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, he got close enough.
Yep. Wow, Roach Warren goes down immediately. All right, no nonsense. Serral is back. Let's see what he does with it.
Yeah. I mean, this could just very well be a setup. It's really nice to get to know if they're going for mech or bio. No, he doesn't know it's mech yet. I think, actually, if he saw the two gases at the natural, he'd be 100% that it's mech. But it is a bit of a question still, because there are some people who still like the one battlecruiser bio opener, but that is more rare. So I think Serral is defaulting to, okay, it's going to be a mech game. All right, I gotcha. And being able to already be prepped for that is actually really amazing, as opposed to the awkward, oh no, my Lings didn't catch your Hellions. Oh no, I don't have the Roach corrupt their attack. I think it's actually quite nice, but if I actually do something with those Roaches, I'd be shocked. Like,
I'm feeling a Nidus. I don't know what...
Maybe if he was building queens.
Yeah, I mean, the queen count is at 7 at this point. We'll keep a close eye. Yep,
Yeah.
that's a lot of queens. But now he's still droning up. So maybe not yet. We'll keep a close eye on everything. There is a sport crawler in each and every single base as well. So whatever happens, whether Serral decides to be aggressive or not, doesn't really matter. He is bulletproof. Like, he should be more than fine here. The Spire goes down immediately as well. Battlecruiser jumps into the main base, but with 7 queens and a sport crawler in every single mineral line, I have a hard time believing this Battlecruiser is going to find a lot of success.
Right, and it is kind of awkward because Serral's also saying, with those roaches, he's like, well, what do you have against roaches? Because right now, mech players wouldn't have anything. Their battlecruiser has just jumped. The second battlecruiser takes forever to build, and they're still building their factories as well. So he's kind of saying, like, well, not only is your battlecruiser not going to do anything, you've also just kind of, quote unquote, wasted the teleport when you could be defending against this. But funnily enough, like, despite the scariness that is roaches against Hellions, that is enough Hellions.
Yeah, that's a lot of Hellions. Especially if the roaches want to go up that ramp. The roaches, of course, don't have speed yet. Serral still did not start that. I'm a little bit surprised to see that. But these roaches will actually not get anything done here at all. Maybe 1 or 2 Hellions. Could try to micro that a little bit better since these roaches don't have speed.
I think if he took a better trade, like maybe there was only 3 or 4 Hellions left over, I think he would have gone with these Lings. I saw them posturing. I was like, oh, and well, it's not quite going to be a 1-2 punch. So the roaches didn't exactly scare INnoVation. They didn't stop the battlecruiser from jumping, but then again, the battlecruiser didn't do anything. So we do kind of have a bit of a wash where maybe Serral doesn't really like that he made those roaches, but it's them to 4 bases. He's getting to hopefully 70 plus drones after the initial corruptors are made.
I've seen quite a few games like this where it's like, oh, it's close, and then suddenly it's just like roach corrupted 200 supply and they completely overrun the mech player. Now, I don't think that's necessarily going to be the case here. Are you surprised to see +1 melee being started here as well?
He might be anticipating Cyclone mech. That is one of the popular ways to follow. I would say that is currently the meta to follow up from what I've seen. But INnoVation is actually going for the other option, which is to build missile turrets and then build tanks. So I know that Ling, Baneling, Roach Ravager can work against our typical mech, our mech tank composition, but I do feel like I like it a lot better against Cyclone. So there might be something there, or maybe this is really just how Serral likes to play. We have seen a lot of just, headbutting basically from Zergs against mech players lately, where they're just like, okay, wave after wave after wave of my units.
Yep, and we've seen a couple of great games in the group stage of the DreamHack StarCraft 2 Masters Summer, where Serral played on this particular map. He would consume the bases with the rich Vespian geysers as well, and then you can really take some what looks like ultra ugly traits, but suddenly they're kind of alright because you just have access to so many Banelings. So I guess Serral is going to try to consume the map and will most likely take the base with the double rich Vespian geyser next, and if that goes up and rolling, well, he can lose 20 Banelings for every 3 tanks, and he's still going to be okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's how he played against Marine Lord on Ice and Chrome, which, by the way, Ice and Chrome is in, I believe, the second game, the second map. So this isn't, I would say this isn't the only time we're going to see INnoVation do mech, unless it utterly fails, and then maybe he reconsiders. But already 9 minutes in, no one's going to win anytime soon. I don't think it's going to be called a failure. I think INnoVation is feeling actually quite comfortable. I think he knows that Serral is going to take the map. He's going to try and continuously headbutt him, but that is something he's prepared for. His tank count's already high, and now he's working on a Cyclone count. Now he's working on something that can be a little more mobile and also work a little bit with the battlecruisers.
I gotta say, the game that Serral, I think, was against Seoul, that he played against Seoul on this map, was one of the more impressive games I've seen in the entire group stage. Of course, it's Serral. Of course, we expected him to win, but the way he completely dismantled that style, and it really felt like he was never in any real danger, even though there was a terrifying Terran army out there. I thought it was one of the more impressive performances I've seen in the entire run of 32. Let's see if we see more of that over here, because the setups are pretty damn similar.
Yeah. We are kind of playing the waiting game for Serral to feel comfortable to start posturing, but he has to wait quite a long time. He wants to wait for a maxed out army. He wants to wait for a bit more of a bank in case things go really, really wrong. It's also interesting because Ice and Chrome doesn't get shorter. Well, I mean, it gets shorter the more you expand, but Death Aura literally gets shorter because you break rocks. So I actually would be a little more concerned for Serral to make a misplay, judge incorrectly, and then not have enough time to recover, because that happened once or twice, which is Marine Lord. But this is the potential for surround. Not really gonna happen.
Nope, most of the Zerglings already went down as these Blue Flame Hellions are having a field day here. There were a couple of roaches. Well, imagine if he puts the roaches there on hold position on that ramp. That would have been an awesome force field. But I'm actually I'm really curious to see how this game plays out, because I think that INnoVation kind of got the setup that he wanted. Now the big question is, can INnoVation take a fight good enough that it can actually stay out on the map and can reinforce his mech army? But I'd say so far so good. And look at the battlecruiser movement on the minimap as well. He's potentially going to shut down this hatchery, and I think that'd be an awesome pickup for INnoVation to start off with.
That's what I was talking about. The Cyclone, they can work with the battlecruisers to go for pushes on both sides. It's more than harassment on either side. If the Cyclones get too close to your hatchery, they're going to kill it. Battlecruisers as well. This is where the Banelings really start to shine. I mentioned that it's good against this style. It shines when it's combined with Surround, right? Or Fungal, and he is getting Passing Glands. But that actually was just INnoVation not respecting the army, I think, enough. So he loses a bit more just with the direct fight. But he does take down that hatchery.
Yep, no, he killed it even. It was not a cancel, but a kill. So that's awesome. And I gotta say, I love the movement on the Hellions and Cyclones as well, making it a bit harder for the Corruptors to really get on top of those battlecruisers. After he showed up with the Cyclones, got a couple of lock-ons. INnoVation landed a few Yamatos, does not get the second kill or cancel. But so far, so good for INnoVation, in my opinion. I really like the way that this game is going for him.
Yeah, I like it as well. I don't see any faults, but I do know that there can be a couple of situations where he suddenly loses more than one group of Cyclones, like suddenly, again, Fungals pop out or more Surrounds are set up as Serral continues to take the map, which he's actually struggling to do. I mean, this isn't just INnoVation looking for a fight because he thinks he can win. No, he's actually he knows there's going to be trades. That was a pretty good hit. He knows it's going to be trades, but he's trying to keep the creep back. He's trying to keep the bases low. He's trying to actually encompass the Zerg as opposed to vice versa, and it's kind of working.
This is so cool. INnoVation taking this base at 9 o'clock. Serral is going to scout it here, and that is perfect timing because obviously there are no turrets here yet. There is not a planetary fortress yet, but this becomes a very big moment now. Look at the amount of tanks we've got on that ramp. I don't know if Serral can just roll in here. No, there's no way. Definitely not without flanking that army. So INnoVation gets an awesome setup, maybe able to secure this base. And this hatchery with those important rich Vespian gazers will once again not go up and running. I like where this is going for, a lot. Serral really is having some issues to truly establish the position that he's looking for.
Yeah, the battlecruisers are always on the other side. And the other thing that was a little bit bad for Serral was that his corruptor count wasn't enough, I think, to actually scare the battlecruisers. It's difficult. Oh, okay, that was weird.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, I was going to say that the corruptor counts are it's difficult because you can't make two corruptors and not have a ground army, but they weren't scary to the battlecruisers, and the battlecruiser died so well. But anyways, Serral's not been able to overtake the map, so giving up a base is not a big deal. It's a very big deal. So he wants to push this army back, and he wants to push in an INnoVation's 5th base to say, stop expanding towards me. I'm supposed to be doing that to you. And he does start to clean this up, but the battlecruisers actually come in to clean up as the right side army suddenly becomes a couple tanks and Cyclones. He's swapped.
Imagine if we get a couple of lock-ons on the hatchery here. If INnoVation takes down this base as well, that would really be a big blow to the economy of Serral, who, yes, got some money in the bank. Here we go. Macfield Accelerator. Are we going to see a scan? No, there's no scan. The Cyclones will retreat, but they're still alive. Battlecruiser is still active on the other side of the map. Serral trying to do whatever he can. There is one leftover tank that's getting a couple of amazing shots off. It might be like, well, if I didn't get the base on the right side, I might be able to get this one. All the Corruptors are gone at this point, which means that these battlecruisers are going to have a field day. The supply is still actually favoring INnoVation at this point, man. Inno's getting amazing trades here.
Yeah, I think that was game. As soon as the battlecruisers took out the Corruptors, that was kind of the thing I was alluding to, is that it never felt like Serral was actually taking care of the battlecruisers. And again, I curse it because he just got corrosive biled and lost another one, so I just have an amazing ability to do that. But yeah, those came in, those bullied back the anti-army that would have been there, would have opened up an opportunity to kill that base, which it did, as well as get all those drones. And that's why we saw the supply really plummet, was that the drones were dying. So that is something to consider. As he does replace the drones, his army supply didn't go down as much as we thought when we first saw the supply getting decreased. But that was not great. INnoVation is strangling Serral, even though Serral's holding on.
Yep, I mean, there is a Great Aspire, and there are Broodlords on the way right now, so maybe those can make the life of Serral a little bit easier. But We've seen it before. If Cyclones can really get in range, get a couple of lock-ons, and even Broodlords can fall very quickly. And Serral's having a hard time really keeping up with the army movement of INnoVation. I know that mech is not as boring as it once upon a time was, and we've seen a lot of dynamic mech play, but this is truly next level. I feel Inno's playing at a very quick pace, and Serral's having trouble being in the right positions at the right time.
I think that really does sum it up. Serral might be able to dig in and do something nice here. He does have those Broodlords, like you mentioned, and it does seem to be a bit of a surprise to INnoVation. But, he just got more drones to the right side. And we're not in a position where Serral just says, I don't care. Let me just use my 5,000 bank. He really needs these drones, and he really needs to be mining all the time, because INnoVation certainly is.
I think one of the most telling things is that in this game, INnoVation did not lose a single building or a single SCV. Meanwhile, Serral lost 3 hatcheries and almost 50 drones in this game already. And yeah, Broodlords are great and normal. We've got 5 Thors on the way. The Cyclones are going to try to get a couple of lock-ons here. And they will be able to pick off 2 Broodlords already. And Inno is playing amazing. Serral is kind of trying to defend the right side, but he needs to re-establish a much better economy if he wants to keep this up. Because as the Zerg player against mech with this composition, being down 22 workers is just not going to cut it.
He's going to have to hope that INnoVation messes up, which so far has not happened. INnoVation was playing a little bit with fire with the Cyclone option against the Broodlords. It's the faster option, so in that way it makes sense, but Thors are really going to be what makes you feel safe against Broodlords. So it worked. It saved his base. He now takes down this hatchery, and now he adds on the Thors. He's perfecting his composition that's going to actually push and probably win the game, where Serral is still on the same composition, struggling to include some important spellcasters. He's got 3 Vipers and 4 Broodlords. That's not going to take down this army.
We do have Neuroparasite as well, correct? But yeah. No infestors. So we do see a parasitic bomb go down on the Vikings, but this mech army looks very powerful. The Thors are trying to get in range of the Broodlords. Only 2 Broodlords survive. The last one goes down now as well, and it's just a couple of Ravages that is left, and that is going to be a GG gets called. What an absolutely astonishing performance here by INnoVation in game 1. That was good. That was clean, awesome, just fantastic mech play. I've seen mech be awesome and effective and cool and interesting, but Inno really brought it here. That was incredibly dynamic, and it felt like he was playing mech with the pace of a bio game.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. It was him always in more than one position and always with an army that was deadly. Again, it's not Hellions that just go for drones. It can absolutely tear down a miscalculated split of an army or a hatchery, which is what had happened all the time. I agree. Like that made Serral look like he was lost against mech. And that is a really bizarre thing to say, because you brought up a couple games, I brought up a couple games where Serral was in a very comfy position. Did it take him 30 minutes to kill the mech player? Sure, but that happens. But I would say that he was always in the comfy position. INnoVation just made him look like he was constantly uncomfortable. It made him look like, why are you doing this to me? What am I supposed to do? It made him look like he wasn't expecting mech on Death Aura and couldn't understand how to play the map. That's what it made him look like.
I don't think I have casted a lot of games of Serral in the last 3 years that went past the 17-minute mark where he did not kill a single building or a single SCV. Like, I don't know if he killed anything in the end there, but that is, to me, one of the most telling feats that really just showed that Serral never truly got where he wanted to be. Like, yeah, was he rich at one point? Sure. Did he have some bases? Sure. Did he have a tiny bit of money in the bank as well? Yeah. But 2,400 minerals, 1,000 gas while being maxed out, it looks like somebody is rich, but you're not rich at that point, because if you lose an army, you can't even rebuild that army. So that's not that meaningful. Inno did an amazing job, I think, in shutting down the most important base, and that is the one with the double rich Vespian Geyser. Because I think if Serral gets that up and running, we know how it goes. It's 40 banelings, and it just never stops. And if he takes that one, he could eventually take the other one as well on the top side of the map. Inno just said, nope, you're not getting that base. He got a kill, got another kill, got a cancel. And at that point, Serral's like, wait a minute, this is just not going well anymore at all.
Yeah, he never had very confident creep spread either. INnoVation was constantly on top of that, so he couldn't see the incoming Cyclones, which is another usually really important part of Cyclone defense, is like, oh, you're over there now. Couldn't do that. Obviously, Overlords weren't an option because they were being sniped left and right if they were going to be sent out. Like, he just really took the map. I do think that it proved that Death Aura is a difficult map when you're up against a Terran player like that. Like, the fact that Serral kind of had to expand towards INnoVation, you know, that really screwed him up. Whereas if we go into Ice and Chrome, which is exactly what we're doing, there is more of a left to right before you start to really hit each other.
I mean, I'm definitely a little shaken up. I did not expect that first game to be like that. Not even that, like, I think Serral looked bad. It's just that INnoVation looked damn good. That's really what it was to me. Our second map is going to be indeed Ice and Chrome. Apparently, I think the previous map may have been played on West. And then I think this game will be played on Central when it comes to the servers. So this should be a little bit better, I think, for Serral. But I feel like those kind of games, they're not really one on ping. Like, obviously, ping is frustrating and nobody likes it. But that was a strategy game, obviously, with incredibly high execution that us normal nerds could never really duplicate. But that was mostly one on positioning and strategy by INnoVation. And I love when he took that, let me just count, that fifth base as well. Because he could have maybe been like, oh, I should get the fifth base in the right top side. But that would have made it a very different pace game. He's like, no, I'm going to take the base at 9 o'clock because then I'm right there. And if this base goes up and running, you're not getting that rich Vespian gas. You're not getting the other one either. I mean, I loved it. I'm blown away by Inno's performance there in game 1.
It's funny because we usually talk about a map like Death Or being like, well, 4 bases is pretty easy, but that fifth, you know, maybe it's a little bit of a reach. And we usually talk about the non-Zerg, because Zerg is supposed to reach their bases a bit easier, and then it was just the opposite situation. Yeah, it really wasn't the game that Serral wanted to play, and maybe that was from the start where those roaches were a little bit useless. But I agree, it wasn't like a build order loss. It wasn't like, I think ping might have been a mental issue, but it wasn't a physical issue. It just was INnoVation looking really, really good. And Serral might be regretting his map vetoes right now. I'm assuming he vetoed Submarine and something else, but now that he's let another mech map in, I don't know, man, that sounds kind of scary now.
So what do you think Serral's second veto was? I'm sure we can figure that out. Maybe Mapu is listening to us and he can let us know.
I got it.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, I don't got it because I don't know who is A or B.
I guess...
Oh, wait, no, I see it now. I see it. So first it was...
Is that Golden Wall? Oh, wow, Eternal Empire?
Yeah, he banned Eternal Empire.
Okay.
That is surprising. I guess that push on the 4th is really strong.
It is, yeah. I mean, I don't mind. I feel like I've casted those games before, you know. It's like, okay, 6.5 minutes, 7 minutes, here we go. Is the hatchery going to survive or not? That is a kind of surprising veto in a best of 3 format for me. Golden Wall, and is that Everdream vetoed? Actually,
yeah. So Everdream was vetoed by Serral first. So it was ABBA, I guess what it was.
Oh, no, I think they were flopped. There was actually, flip. There was a little error in the graphics there. Apparently, it's Serral who had those vetoes. I was about to say, because there's no way INnoVation vetoes Submarine, right? That'd be crazy. So Serral is the one who banned Submarine and then Golden Wall as well.
Is it wrong?
Yes. I mean, that's what Mapu is telling me, and I actually think that makes sense, right? Yeah, I believe that.
I believe Mapu.
Yeah, me too. And then INnoVation is the one who vetoed Eternal Empire and Everdream. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
We figured it out, guys. But the point is that maybe he would have let those through if he knew how difficult mech was going to be. Yeah. That was my point.
I mean, yeah, I guess Golden Wall is kind of tricky as well, but I feel Golden Wall is tricky for both sides, right? Like, yeah, maybe Zerg players are like, we don't like certain things about the map, but there is also plenty of things that Terrans don't really like about Golden Wall. Even though I guess they'll be okay with most of those aspects of the map. Let's go ahead and hop into the actual map that matters, which is Ice and Chrome. So we're getting ready for the second map here of the winners match of the season finals. Of course, we have 4 groups of 4. This is the first group. The second group is a really fun one that's currently happening on the B stream. And this man needs to turn it around. In the bottom left side, he is down 0-1. The Finnish phenom himself, it is Serral.
In the top right, taking that first map and looking damn good in it, it is the Red Terran INnoVation.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel that if you can play such a mean mech game on Death Aura, even though the map might just be good for it, I almost see no reason to change it, because I think mech is pretty damn sweet on Ice and Chrome as well. We've seen plenty of the European Terrans try it. I'd be surprised if we see Bio here.
Me too. it really has become the default mech map for me. Like, yeah, Eternal can have it. Yeah, Death Aura can have it. And I see people try it on Pillars, but I'm kind of like questioning that one. Anyways, like, yeah, no, Ice and Chrome is for me the map to do it on. And if he doesn't, it'd be only just to maybe get Serral to think that he will, right? I think if INnoVation goes in a bio, it's only because he wants to mix things up to catch Serral off guard. Otherwise, it's not broke. You don't have to fix it. Like, INnoVation just needs to play mech again, play like he did before. It is a different map type. It's a different expansion process type. And Serral is going to be maybe even more prepped mentally for the possibility. But last game, I thought he was actually pretty well set up for it. He scouted it pretty early.
Yep, of course, this is the traditional GSL format, so if Serral loses here, don't be afraid that you won't get to see Serral against Maru, guys. There is still a chance. Might even be better, actually, if Serral loses. They could meet in the quarterfinals. Then nobody messes up if Maru just wins this group like a lot of people expect him to. But Maru's actually in the group with Reynor, right? Yeah, I don't know if he's going to win that group. We'll see about that. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But even if Serral loses here, he's not down and out of the tournament. He could still take second place. Of course, next match will be Neep versus Risky, and the winner of that match will face the loser of this one.
Exactly. Quite familiar. I love that, like, GSL style is what we call it, and I feel like I've heard it with other esports as well when they actually get an opportunity to use it. But it's more of an individual 1v1 type of format. Works out well, though. It's been tested over 10 years. Still going strong.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of moments where I prefer it over traditional round robin, but there are also some moments where I prefer traditional round robin. I think it has a lot to do with the player's strengths and stuff. But I think obviously in such a stacked tournament like this one, I think it's perfectly fine and it speaks for itself. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of the big round robin groups. Home Story Cup's been experimenting with it the last 2-3 editions. And then obviously we saw it here in the round of 32. I think it's really awesome for many ways. The dominant players can really leave their mark. Like if somebody wins 2 games, 2-0, it's like, okay, he went 2-0, 4-0 today. Impressive. But that doesn't have the same ring to it as somebody going 7-0 or 14-0, right? And then looking at it from the up-and-comers, I also think it's awesome for them that not their entire tournament life depends on 2 best-of-3s where the nerves might get to them. Like, no, having the opportunity to play 7 competitive matches, I really think will allow talent to grow faster and let people get better. So I like it for many ways.
Certainly more preferable for the players, but when it comes to the drama, when it comes to like the showmanship, you can't really beat these single elim, or in this case double elim, but group style. It makes things every match feels so damn important. I mean, if Serral were to lose this, if it were 2-0, and by the way, similar setup, Battle Cruiser to Serral here, who's just going for a lair actually right now, no Roach one quite yet. If Serral were to lose, like, it's very real that he could face Neeb, which we could have a whole conversation about that as well, and their, story that was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be Neeb who could take down Serral, and I never really got to see it go out that way, but anyways, that's for the future. We are now watching INnoVation try to look for openings with his Hellions, because that is often the deadliest part of the Battlecruiser opener. It's quite funny, but yeah, that's too many lanes. Or is it? Or is it Zombie Grub?
That is not a bad fight at all for INnoVation, I'd say. The Hellions are low on HP. This one queen is going to try to get the snipes off, doing a really good job in target firing there. But INnoVation is still going to get at least a little bit of economic damage. A lot of lost mining time. So it's got to be careful, because even one Hellion and a Reaper can still take down quite a few drones.
Wow. I really thought that was going to be enough. Like, when I saw the first half of the Lings, I was like, oh no. And then I saw the rest, and I was like, yeah. But he still blew through them. It's still not the worst thing, though, right, for Serral. It's better to just not take any damage whatsoever, but he only took 3 drones. More important thing is he's ready for the Battlecruiser. Might have been anticipating it in the main. Now his queens are here, so just a little out of position, just a little bit later to the Spore Crawler. Does lose 4 more drones.
Yep. That's not bad, though, right? The BC survives 4 drones just like that. A little bit of lost mining time again. Serral setting up a little Drop-A-Lord play on the top side of the map. That's kind of cool. I feel like it's a little hit or miss, right? Either Hellions are going to just absolutely roast this, or the Hellions are way out of position. And then something like this can really mess INnoVation up.
I guess you would assume that INnoVation is still patrolling with the Hellions he's producing, just because he feels like INnoVation is a confident player who'd be out in the map. But really, I would say most Terrans would be back home, being like, oh my god, I just lost my Hellions, I need to wait a little while. But hey, INnoVation waited for 6 exactly, which is usually a safe point. And this may be where Serral goes in?
Yeah, I think he
Yes,
waits.
maybe?
I think he wants to see these Hellions. And well, he sees them now. INnoVation is getting really adventurous here, just driving in the middle of all of these queens. Serral is indeed going to drop his Zerglings in the main base, and there isn't much here, so the timing on this is really cool. I love the Dropaloid play as well, making it harder for the command center to land. And now there is a battle cruiser that randomly spawns. Well, not the worst thing to have at home when you want to defend against Zerglings.
Yeah, worse things. It's not that many Zerglings either. And the Hellions did pull back. Very safe here. So a little bit of revenge. A little bit. Ooh. And this is a very common way to start off Ice and Chrome especially, it feels, when it comes down to facing mech. We've seen Stu, we've seen Serral actually open with mutas, even though Corruptors are like, the thing that kills the Battlecruiser. The Battlecruisers aren't that mobile. They have teleport, yes, but you can just run away. So the mutas might do some serious damage.
I do think you need an insane economy to really get this tower going. And obviously, Serral did take a little bit of an economic beating. So it is important for Serral to not lose any additional drones in the next minute of this game. Mutas are going to find the Hellions on the bottom side. That's obviously a very nice catch, especially because they turn around. And that means that these Mutas will get a lot of initial hits off. That's like 4 Hellions for free. And this is kind of where the battle cruisers try to be as annoying as possible, right? Like, show up, get an Overlord, get a drone or two, land 2 Yamatos, and get the hell out of there.
I was going to say, I might actually like it better to lose those Hellions because he got a scout and he bought a little bit of time. Still lost 2 tanks, though. They couldn't go for the SCVs. They just barely missed the timing, but 2 tanks, a couple SCVs on the gas geysers. Not a bad start for the mutas, but I do like your point. Like, you really want a really good economy to get rolling with an actual dedication to Ling Baneling muta. I would not mind if these were some of the last mutas he makes, and then he goes back into just macro, just, typical compositions. But yeah, so far, just sticking with the Lings.
He was distracting him with those Banelings, trying to get a little run-by going, and that actually worked out perfectly for Serral. Gets a few Zerglings in the main, gets a few in the natural, and all of this is definitely starting to add up as the mutas show up again as well. They'll take down a refinery, a few more SCVs go down. I gotta say, Serral's doing an amazing job here and getting a lot of value out of very little investment.
Yeah, absolutely. This is not very expensive for him. He, whenever he loses a muta, you would say that is expensive, but he's only lost 2. The Hellions actually take care of the main base. It looks like INnoVation is just low on Hellions. He can't produce from the reactor factory because he's building so many other things, and he's losing SCVs. And it's actually just kind of it's a problem that's making another problem.
Yep, those are Lings that I think he forgot about, or he thought that they were already out. I mean, Serral just got an absolutely amazing return on the investment of what, 24 Zerglings? That was ridiculous. Suddenly, I'm really starting to feel Serral's position. We had a little Veiling drop there as well that does get shut down. But the mutas are going to now even dive on top of a turret. There's no overseer here. We do have 2 Widow Mines on the left side.
That's a good pop. Another one there. It will miss the Banelings, but now the Battlecruisers are here, so they will bully this away. INnoVation is definitely not having a good game here. He has taken a lot of damage, not just in the economy, but also in his army. So he can't really stall either one to replace either one, Like, he just, 4th base doesn't feel very, it's actually not even on the way, so it's definitely quite late. He is not in a good position, but it is mech, and maybe if, from now on, if it takes no damage, sure, I believe in you, but how likely is that to happen? Serral's already building up a different army. He's already built up his muta count.
I love that Serral, every time he shows up with the mutas, he's also doing something else. He's setting up that little Bailing run by that's actually going to kind of get shut down by the Widow Mines, but still a few additional SCVs will fall. I love everything that Serral has done in the last 2.5 minutes. I never expected him to get this much done. He has to be a bit careful. These mutas are in super deep, and there are Thors everywhere.
Yeah. You know what else I think happened? Oh, this could be good. This could be good. This could be great. This could be great for INnoVation. Oh my god. Oh.
I mean, that was definitely quite a few mutas. 19 mutas have gone down. I mean, I still would like to say that INnoVation needs more, but that was a little bit reckless by Serral.
And don't forget that the mutas can't take on the battlecruisers, even if they didn't just die. They can't take on the battlecruisers. So as long as the battlecruisers are in position, and that was really great that he scouted the Lings, the Roach Ravager Ling attack shouldn't be able to bust him. It's, it can, but it will be cleaned up eventually. So it might be worth bopping a command center, don't get me wrong, but that is something that INnoVation can depend on for now. Now Serral is moving away.
At this point, the tank count is 0. We do have 3 tanks in production, and I think about a couple of them are about to show up. But that's obviously a very scary moment when you suddenly realize, like, you've got no tanks at all. Then even Thors will start feeling a little bit vulnerable. The anti-air on the side of Serral is obviously not in overwhelming numbers either. Corrosive Ball will connect in a pretty big way. One battlecruiser goes down immediately, and INnoVation will get the hell out of it.
So the one thing I was going to mention is that I think INnoVation might have either made a mistake or been forced to do this, and he built a 4th battlecruiser. It's almost always, oh my god, this news got the starport. It's almost always 3 battlecruisers with your motto, unless we get like really, really, really late game. So either it was a mistake, he kind of was just like, okay, build anything. Okay, I accidentally built a battlecruiser, which is a really expensive mistake, or he felt forced to, and that's also not really ideal. So he did just lose a 4th battlecruiser. He's down to 3. It's still a good harassment force, but as you're pointing out, that probably took away from his tank production, which, I mean, he's finally getting back to. He's kind of finding his stance now, but he's not in that position. He's not in any at all comparable position to last game, and he's still not in a very good position.
I don't know if Serral attacking here is the greatest idea, though. Like, maybe if he just wants to get a couple of SCVs in the natural, split off a few Banes, I'm okay with it. But I don't think he can really run into that setup. It seems like he's going to try those zombie grub, and I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, I don't know either. There is a tank on siege. The Hellions actually not really doing their best because they were clumped in with the Thors. So the Banelings are also getting on top of those Thors. Are there enough units? There definitely is. 3 battlecruisers with the Thors. The Corruptors can't run in there to try to help out. That still was not the best. I mean, that was just a 180-ish supply mech army that was waiting for the most part. And that, yeah, you're right. That shouldn't have been done.
It was like at least kind of coming in from the right position, right? Like if Serral would have came in from the left, that would have been an absolute disaster. Like this, it worked out a little bit better, but yeah, it's hard to say that I was a massive fan of that attack. But of course, there is a great Aspire on the way during all of this. Serral is pretty rich at this point, so he can try that one more time. And maybe wave 2 will be a lot more successful, especially because Inno is not repairing his mech units. And a lot of the units on the ground already took quite a beating.
Yeah, that's a good point. And to be honest, he doesn't really have the gas to even repair, rather. He's just trying to build up an army that looks, at least looks intimidating when you don't account for how much health has gone from it. He is grabbing a 4th base, and Ice and Chrome is pretty nice for that. It's why mech is really good here, actually, is that it's fairly easy to defend. A couple sensor towers, a couple walls.
I mean, INnoVation saw a couple of units going through the range of that sensor tower towards the bottom. Sends 1 SCV now. Might actually see the Banelings that are trying to run into the natural. Nope, INnoVation did not see it as he's focused on the main army. So a lot of SCVs are going to go down, but let's see how the actual fight goes.
Yeah, it's a little more important. The Thors, once again, really clumped up to the Banelings, getting some surprisingly good shots. The Corrosive Biles also hitting the Thors that were already injured from the previous fight. INnoVation is now also losing his battlecruisers. They were originally protected by the Thors and the Cyclones, but they have gone down. While the Cyclones come back for some revenge, this is a situation where Serral is on how many bases? 91 drones? And can replace that army, and INnoVation is going to struggle, although his economy did stay mostly intact.
Yeah, I lost a couple SCVs in the natural too, like the 6 or 7 Banelings that roll in there. But once again, it did indeed feel that Inno's army was very clumped up. And the Banelings are not supposed to be that great there. But yeah, if they splash over multiple mech units each and every single time, then it does really start adding up. Obviously, at this point, Serral, his Ultralisk Cavern is done. Chitinous Plating is pretty much done. So the next wave is going to be intimidating. And Inno needs to start taking better trades if he wants to stay in this game, because just surviving is obviously not good enough if Serral does have the entire map and you're sitting there in the dark on 4 bases.
I feel like this Widow Mine move is almost like a Hail Mary, you know, like he wouldn't usually be adding this many Widow Mines or emphasizing it anyways, but he's like, okay, I really need something to alert me, first of all, because I'm being pulled left and right, and then second of all, I need a couple of great hits. I need a couple of lucky hits, and well, I mean, I think it's actually a good idea. So far, he's not been able to respond quick enough for the Hellions to do their job like they usually would against Ling Baneling. So the Widow Mine's able to do it, and you don't really have to guard the Widow Mines either. They just sit there.
I think most importantly, of course, this time around, we've got a couple of Vipers in the mix as well, and Vipers are incredibly important units. I am a bit surprised by the lack of overseer here. I mean, maybe Serral's is not expecting that many mines in this phase in the game. Good mine connection in the center. These mines on the top somehow don't get the best shots off, but this planetary fortress might actually survive with the Thor kind of defending there as well. If he starts repairing, it will survive. That was questionable by Serral.
I really don't think he was expecting the Widow Mines. You know, first he was like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. It's with your main army. And then there's just like tons more. They caught that army, and they also helped with the Ultralisks. And the Ultras also just weren't protected by a bunch of Cyclones. So big waste of resources there with the Ultras. I see sometimes how they can work out, but this was a critique that Fear and I had about the mech game on this map when he was facing Marine Lord. It's like, did the Ultras ever really seem to do their job? Did they ever really seem to be the reason Serral won that game? Not really. And it feels like so much more often they're caught alone and instantly sniped because Cyclones are very good against them.
All of a sudden, it really does feel like we've got a game here again, with INnoVation trying to stabilize on 5 bases, even building a 6th command center. The Cyclone count is higher than it's ever been. Obviously, the fact that Inno has a couple workers less means good things for his army, but Serral's going to try to surround this, and we'll land a lot of abducts. We'll get quite a few Cyclones, but it's not an overwhelming victory. Like, this isn't cheap for Serral either.
Yeah, and every time the Banelings and Lings are gone, that's when the Cyclones can get some revenge, right? The Ravagers and the Ultras have to leave. They're no longer protected. They're going to get locked on and kited to all hell. What? So on the right side, there is a bit of a cleanup, and then actually finding a hatchery. I don't think he's going to get it. But now the Widow Mines have to be taken care of, and this is just more annoyances that Serral is no longer, you know, he doesn't just, you know, carefree, run around the map, do whatever he wants. INnoVation's getting some harassment in.
That was so funny because the Cyclone showed up and I was like, well, at least there's an Ultra there. Ultra just dives on the ground. Whoop, I'm out of here. I'm like, what? Go ahead and save the hatch. But Serral immediately unburrowed it and decided to fight and at least keep it alive for now. But I'm totally with you there. The mines are actually going to fire here on the Queens. Those Queens have a lot of energy, so they would have been super useful for Ultra. Serral's got no units at the bottom at all. He's very focused on the top side of the map, but that's also not going that well for him. I don't really know what we're witnessing here, but this is starting to look like a pretty epic comeback because INnoVation is suddenly just winning battles left, right, and center with that insanely late Widow Mine switch.
You know, in the analysis, I was saying that Widow Mines are the answer, guys. That's the true secret. And I was honestly talking about Bio, but apparently it works for mech as well. Some good Baneling connections, but also being bopped by the Widow Mines, so it's like, get a tip for that. INnoVation is forced to retreat, but his supply didn't really ever go down that much.
Oh, the Infestors get found as well on the bottom side. These Queens are going to try to keep it alive, but one Infestor went down already. Wow, I can't believe that those Queens survive for as long as they do. Widow Mines do get good shots off again on the Zerglings. I mean, you know, still obviously like a little bit low when it comes to the bank, but I mean, he's just building units like a madman, and I think he's okay with these trades. Because don't forget that Serral obviously had a much better economy, so the initial bases are going to be mined out much earlier. So the bases that they're fighting over right now are actually by far and away more crucial to Serral than the economic damage that INnoVation took earlier.
I mean, the income graph is absolutely still in favor of Serral, and it has been this entire game, but it's really, it's becoming a much closer game as INnoVation continues to take maps and is continuing to actually pressure Serral, looking a bit more like the last game. And it's certainly giving a lot more confidence because mech can certainly take these good trades. The Widow Mines ended up being a genius move too. Like, I don't know if INnoVation does this that often. It feels like it's not the first time I've seen it, but it is still one of those rare things, kind of like, okay, is it going to work? But these have really worked. The Banelings aren't as effective with these things here.
I mean, let's see if Serral can get one of these bases at least. There's a couple of units as well, but he's kind of fighting on the top left side. That is a really good surround, of course, with the Zerglings. Serral's going for it. Really wants to get a planetary here. This is a big investment. And with Karasapal, the Banelings will get the job done. But let's see how many units Serral will end up losing here in the end. I'm kind of feeling the burrowed infestor play everywhere. That makes it a pretty fun game to watch.
He's losing a decent amount of them as the Cyclones chase. I think they know a couple burrowed and got away. Oh, maybe not. No, he's actually going to miss the scan just barely, so that fungal's going to be pretty good. Widow Mine's kind of hurting the Cyclones more than helping, but more on the way. Meanwhile, the left side, ooh, the corrosive biles. Wow.
Oddly satisfying. Right. Oddly satisfying to see 4 corrosive biles in a line. Take out all the Widow Mines there. Serral suddenly getting a couple of victories across the board. This has been a super fun best of 3. I mean, in the first game, just kind of blown away by how well INnoVation was playing. This game, it felt that he was down and out, really started to fight back. And look at this, the late game meta switch. 19 middle is being produced right now by Serral.
That's a bit of a risky move. He's going to be able to bop between the bases, which is going to be really deadly. But as far as a straight-up fight, there are still enough Cyclones, and like literally what INnoVation's building still combats the mutas. But if he's going to try and snipe a couple bases, a couple building bases, like he absolutely can, it's going Gonna be a big surprise.
I feel like Serral's lacking overseers, so he just keeps losing them because these mines are buying a lot of time for INnoVation, which always allows him to get a decent setup. But right when I say that, the Banelings actually will just crash into all these Cyclones, and that I think went a lot better for Serral than it was supposed to go. A couple Cyclones still alive. The Mutas have revealed themselves on the top side of the map. There are a couple Cyclones here in the mix. I think this command center will obviously go down. There are no more Thors as well, actually. All of the Thors went down.
Oh, yeah. This is something that INnoVation is going to want to fix, but Cyclones do the trick for now. He was alerted to them by a Widow Mine, and I feel like that might actually be why he wasn't paying attention to his Cyclones. And because he wasn't paying attention to his Cyclones, he now has this bottom right planetary taken out. And these Mutas, I mean, they took out a command center themselves. I think they helped take down an army. And I think now they're helping taking down the economy. Good save by the Widow Mine.
No, obviously great point. That was a really funny chase in the center of the map. Mutas are going to try to do as much as they can in the main. I mean, sniping a couple of depots and stuff is not that big of a deal, but this is a very serious Muta flock. Still 18 of them alive, but it's indeed also very risky. I mean, Serral's got 1,100 gas in the bank. That's really not that much. Imagine these mines fly into Widow mines, and he's in all sorts of trouble.
That's a very good point. And while Serral definitely had one, stroke there that did a lot of damage, he killed 3 bases, a decent amount of SCVs, or 2 bases in an army. It's now INnoVation's turn. As he gets back on the map, he doesn't really care about the creep spread for now, can't quite scan, so he just takes the hatchery. We'll take a couple of infestors, maybe. Get used to the neural parasite. A couple drones did go down too. This is a orbital command, which is usually a sign of desperation from the Terran, and now these Mutas are going completely undefended in the main.
Yeah, they're really going to town on whatever they can find. It's a shame for Inno that he didn't get the base on the top left side, because then I think Serral's economy really would have taken a very serious hit, as well as these mines do connect. From Serral, I'd probably try to pick off that orbital, because at this base, obviously Inno is running low on main bases. 2 planetary fortresses and 3 orbital commands is all there is at this point.
INnoVation, I think, has just lost too much economy. He was starting to take control of the map, and then Serral, after the initial, like, oh my god, there's so many Widow mines, he started to take account for them. That was a pretty good use of the Widow mines, but it's still so much Serral left over, and INnoVation will finally be cracking, I do believe. Serral was just, he was just too good. He was all over the place this game. From the very get-go with those Ling drops and Ling run-bys, he was in so much more control.
Yeah, monster macro by Serral indeed, to make sure that he never really ran out of steam, and the late game Muta switch really getting some serious value as well. INnoVation at this point not capable of rebuilding anymore. GG gets called, and Serral wins an amazing game 2 here on Ice and Chrome. It kind of looked like it was going to be a relatively one-sided affair at first, but I actually started to believe a little bit in Inno's mid-game. Like, he was getting some fantastic trades across the board, and at one point the game looked better than it ever did.
Yeah, it actually looks like it was going back in INnoVation's favor. As he was taking the map, he was on Serral's side of the map constantly. I did like the Widow mines, but I feel like maybe he started to think they were doing too well. You know, it was a cool thing to include and kind of abruptly change the pace of the engagements. But as soon as it got figured out, maybe adding on tanks again would have been a good use of some of his limited resources just to help anchor. Because there was a lot of times, certainly, where his Cyclones were getting hit even when he should have been controlling them. And tanks are a little more helpful in that situation. But I'm glad we got it, dude. I'm glad we got to the game 3.
Yeah, and shout out to the infestors as well of Serral. I really think that those were a very nice touch. They were just kind of sharking around, waiting to land a couple of fungals, and it really does start adding up. If every single time the Terran thinks they can just retreat, they cannot retreat. They lose 3 or 4 Cyclones in the mix, so I thought that was pretty awesome. I think Inno did once again a good job in splitting up his army, trying to snipe multiple bases at once, but this time I just felt that Serral was like, all right, I know where this is going. Let's just do a better job in making sure I'm not out of position.
Yeah, that too. I mean, INnoVation didn't get the start that he wanted that game, that's for sure. Complete reversal, where he didn't get to really take down the creep spread. He had one portion of the map where there was not a creep spread, and that's the position he kept hammering, that right side base. But that map, the left side was completely taken by the Zerg, so it wasn't as big of a deal. So that's what I wanted to see, was more of that back and forth. Game number 3 on Pillars of Gold might be where we first see Bio. I did mention some people are trying mech on Pillars, but I haven't seen the appeal yet.
No, I'm with you, and I think that obviously it's a big map. It is a wide open map. There are still a couple of good tank spots on this map. I think if you can get into a decent position, you move out for the first or the second time, you get some of these high ground, low ground setups we've got going in the center. It's really not all that bad. It is, of course, a great map for Zergling run-bys as well, and Banelings will come in crashing to your mineral lines from each and every single angle. But I'm with you. Or is he going to send out a couple of SCVs and kind of ruin our entire prediction game and just put it all on the line with some proxy barracks?
I would love it. I would love it. INnoVation definitely the type of guy to do that and be okay if he just doesn't instantly lose, basically. The 2 racks kind of just has to pack up and go home. He's played for that position many times.
I have the feeling. I don't know why. Because like I think the first game was on US West, second was on US Central, third one US Central.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like it's happening, which I do think is great news for all of us. Because we, of course, want to see more of this stuff we saw in Game 1 and Game 2. Yes, cheeses are fun and exciting, but I much rather see these two guys push each other to the limit. So here we are, winners match of Group A of the DreamHack Masters Season Finals. Top right side, the Finnish phenom, it is Serral.
In the bottom left, repping Kaisi Gaming, he is INnoVation. I would have loved the 2 racks. Would have made everyone quite excited. I would have loved it. I would have loved it. You know, I think the chances of him being able to do just enough damage to Mac her out happens often enough. But yeah, he's going to assume that Serral will be too good against it. The killer's also not the best. So now I'm back to my original question, though. Like, is it going to be Mech from INnoVation? Is he feeling there is a weakness from Serral? I mean, certainly you could look at that last game and just be like, oh, well, I don't take damage from Lings. You know, like I shouldn't have in the first place. So that's what really screwed me over. And if that'd be correct. He really did not have any of the momentum that he wanted in the initial part of the game. So if that's what he blames, it'd be certainly at least partially correct. And he wants to do Mech again. All right, but Pillars of Gold does not have the same setup whatsoever compared to our last 2 maps. That third is already more difficult, much less the 4th or the 5th.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that because, you know, it was kind of an action-packed game and it got really exciting towards the end where, you know, got some good trades. But that was really cool the way that Serral set up that little 1-2 play where he's like, hey, 2 Banelings. It like looked like the lamest Baneling run-by of all time. But it was all for those Zerglings to get into the natural, into the main. And then when INnoVation thought he actually cleaned it up, he didn't. And 3-4 links, yeah, they won't kill everything very quickly. But if they go unnoticed for like 10-12 seconds, well, there you go. 6-7 additional SCVs just go down. And that made it actually such a bad mid-game for Inno.
Very bad, very poor. And the mutas ended up being just that little bit extra. That really made INnoVation the defender, where usually I think you would expect that type of play. It's not uncommon, as much as it would sound like it is on that map. INnoVation was already dealing with so many other things that were going wrong. So probably a different start in general for both players. And we're going to be waiting for, I think, the Fusion Core is going to tell us first and foremost. If I see a Fusion Core, I'm going to believe that it's a mech, although it would be a nice best of 3 setup to say, okay, only 1 battle cruiser. But, oh, you know what? He doesn't even have a second gas. That's actually impossible. It's a 3rd CC. So, different game.
Yeah, I like to see it as well. I think the way that Inno played mech in Game 1 and Game 2, maybe you can pull off a similar style like that on this map, because obviously Cyclones and Hellions do benefit from having multiple attack paths and things being a little more wide open. But I'm happy to see him changing it up. I enjoy the mech games a lot, and that doesn't go for all the mech games, but I think these were 2 very interesting and exciting games. But I would definitely be more than happy to see him just go back here to Bio.
I'm really glad to see Bio as well. It's also just really exciting and fun, and we love watching it, but it's also something where I think INnoVation has some of the best pushes off of this 3rd CC. I mean, you try and do it yourself, even like the pros, but not INnoVation. You see the 3rd CC and you're like, yeah, that should be good. And then, you know, it doesn't do actually that well, or it doesn't seem like it does that much extra. For INnoVation, it feels like it does extra, but I know where you're owing at. And that Roach Warren in the back.
Yep.
Could be dangerous.
That is awfully early. 3 minutes and 30 seconds into the game. That's even a bit earlier than we saw it on Desara, which I already thought was on the slightly earlier side. So we'll keep a close eye on that. Obviously, Serral's doing whatever he can to spread creep very aggressively forward. Reaper is diving into the back of the natural, gets the scout on the Roach Warren, and that is important.
That is so great because I'm pretty sure what INnoVation was going to do was purely use his factory as a reactor, add-on, which he already started, unfortunately. But he could hopefully add on a tech lab like directly after instead of again using it for a reactor. And that was a tech lab. Oh, actually, he's already set up. So perfect then. That's what he wanted to do instead of building a reactor. And then he built a tank, and now he's defended. Now INnoVation needs to consider that because he knows it was scouted, that it isn't going to be used.
No.
So he can't quite over-defend here, and I think he's considering that.
Well, because of the roaches, this circling count is a little bit lower than you normally expect it to be. With only 8 links, these Hellions are actually going to be very annoying already. The roaches are being sent to the other side of the map, and I gotta say, I find this a very questionable choice. Maybe it's just to scare Inno, but it's obviously not going to accomplish really anything.
Yeah, just a little bit of a scare, but also maybe a little bit of a check to see how much you're dedicated. But oh wow, INnoVation's instantly like, nope, you can't get away. Not even with these roaches. So I feel like they kind of appropriately did what they should off of the situation. Serral didn't really commit. That's the better option. And INnoVation did go for a tank, which did mess up his build a little bit. Now my question is, who kind of came off worse? Or is it really just an even kind of bounce back off each other?
I think it's actually quite nice for Inno, because economically he's been in a good spot, obviously because of the triple command center setup. The upgrades for Serral are going to be quite late in this game. I really kind of like where this is going for INnoVation, but obviously it's still early and it will all come down to the first proper move out or the first drops. Whether they or not will be able to find some damage. But I gotta say, I really don't mind INnoVation's position at this point.
I agree with you. Even though Serral didn't end up committing with the roaches, he still invested into a roach warren. There was still probably a pause of like what he was producing from the eggs. He tried to figure out if he wanted to do this or not. And that is, unfortunately, just the weakness of a Zerg player, right? Like when they're building that, they're not building more drones, whereas INnoVation could build a tank and he could build a bunker while also utilizing his third CC. The only thing that he got really interrupted with is 100 minerals for the bunker and then a tank instead of that extra reactor, I think. But that's not such a big deal. He's going to do a double drop and then maybe lead into that really powerful push with the 1-1. But he kind of needs to set it up first, find the angle he wants to attack in from.
Now, we often say that Muda Ling Bane is great against tanks, but not so good against Widow Mines, but that tanks are very good against Hydras, and Serral is actually dropping the Hydra then, so very similar to what Reyna was displaying us in his best of 5s that he played against Clem and Hero Marine a bit as well. I'm really curious to see how this one plays out, because once again, on paper, I really like this for I feel like almost everything is going according to his plan. Not really finding anything with his first double drop, but that's not the point. At this point, it's about let's make sure we don't lose any SCVs, nothing weird happens, we start 2-2 on time, and then by the time that your 2-2 upgrades kick in, I think that's when you can start really getting adventurous as Terran.
He adds 3 more barracks immediately. We're going to see a good old 8 racks. Lots of pressure coming down from INnoVation, just rallying and rallying. Only a single tank produced at a time with this. You can't afford much more, but it is going to be tanks. So you're very, it was very good to bring up that the tanks are what you want against a certain composition. Where if it was mutas, it gets a little bit complicated. But there's the push starting. 2-2 is going to be the next really scary point. But these tanks in this position is already kind of scary.
Yep, Serral is setting up a little flank though. It's not much, but just a couple of Banelings can really mess up this army. He's going for it. He's coming in from the north and the south. INnoVation not paying attention. Oh no, it's an absolute disaster. Serral shows us that the flanks don't need to be massive because just a couple of Banelings wipe out that entire Marine army.
Oh man, yeah, he just absolutely wasn't paying attention. He thought that he had scared Serral. He had just gone there to clear up some creep, and that he could evacuate without having to pay attention. But Serral was actually willing to take the fight, which I just don't think INnoVation thought he would do. That is a disaster. He gets kind of like one more chance to get momentum on his side with the next push with a maxed out 2-2 army. But now Serral has a lot more flexibility to get another hatchery they could evacuate to, as well as get up to maybe even some Vipers.
What a moment to take out 29 Marines. I mean, that Marine ball always gets incredibly intimidating, especially once that 8 Rex really kicks in. No, everything is just going to be a little bit delayed. I do agree with you. I think Inno has one more proper shot, but there is no more room for errors like that. Because, I mean, that's just way too much on this level.
If I haven't seen the 8 racks work beyond that type of start before, I would actually have said that's like pretty much game. Like there's so much momentum lost. The creep spread gets to go back out. Like I said, the hatchery can be like, they can just transfer another hatchery so they can buy even more time by letting a hatchery fall. but I've seen the 8-rack still work. But yeah, INnoVation needs to be playing his best game, and already letting some Banelings connect is not the best. He also leaves his tanks alone, so the Hydras take most of them out. That was not what he was hoping for.
Right before 2-2 upgrades are done as well. Serral just keeps being very aggressive in a way that is not like, oh, he's trying to win the game. Like, no, he's just bringing the fight a lot earlier than INnoVation is ever expecting him to bring the fight. Not paying attention. Look on the right side of our screen. This is when these upgrades finish up. Well, that's great. We already lost 62 Marines in a 9-minute game. Like, that's absolutely insane. These are not numbers we expect to happen. And obviously losing those tanks as well makes all of this extra painful, because how is INnoVation now ever supposed to properly fight the army of Serral?
Doesn't really. I feel like with that extra attack not going so well, this is one of those situations where you have to just say, like, I guess I try to throw it on a force CC. You can't pull SCVs against a Zerg player, but that would be what was happening with this as a TVP. So INnoVation is just, he's sticking to what can maybe work, which is maxing out and trying again. But it's so many things are in the Zerg's favor. I think Serral has to slip up, is what has to happen here for INnoVation. And I just don't think Serral will slip up.
Yeah, Serral's going to have to take one of the worst fights of his life. There's like an absolutely horrendous engagement coming in from one angle where the tanks blow up all the Banelings. I mean, while I'm saying it, I'm already not believing it, because we just don't see those things very often. But Inno's going to try. He's going to drop a couple of Marines on the top left side, at the same time trying to make some progress in the center, dropping on top of that Spore Thrower as well, making it a little bit easier for Serral to deal with this eventually. I mean, out of the 3 games, this is definitely by far and away, I think, the weakest performance of INnoVation.
Yeah. And there's going to be a lot of people saying, like, well, they're equally maxed, like, what's the big deal? But the momentum and the situation, the creep spread alerting you, the Vipers being available, and just the lack of tanks. There's, like, 4 tanks is actually that many, and 2 of them weren't sieged, 3 of them weren't sieged. 1 is trying to get some amazing shots, and INnoVation is kiting a little bit off of creep into a concave, but that was still a good enough trade. There's still so much army left over from Serral on the left side. INnoVation no longer has any splash.
Yeah, but that was not good enough for INnoVation. It's just a couple of Marines left, and there are still plenty of Banelings as well. There are some crazy moments where we're like, wait a minute, can these 28 Marines just keep steaming and win the game? Well, not if we're on creep, not if there are still safety Banelings. And obviously at this point, Serral's Baneling count is back up to 46. I mean, that's all you really want. I think at this point, Serral can take an ugly engagement and still come out victorious.
Yeah. This time's going to be majority off of creep, but still the Banelings, you hear those connections, they're still going to be good enough, as Serral has the entire map to fall back to if this wouldn't work. GG.